Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Bullying Reported Please podcast. I am your hostess, E. Jones Blacksher. This is the podcast you come to when you want to talk about bullying. And we're not just talking about bullying, we're going further in depth about bullying. From the schoolyard to the church to your own homes, even in your workplace. And here we will also talk about the lasting scars it could leave on its victims. And when we say victims, we're not just talking about the victims of bullying, the bully victims. We're also talking about the impact it could have on bystanders. We'll talk about the lifelong effects that it can have. And we'll also give you practical strategies on identifying, addressing, and preventing that bullying behavior. And we will just dig deep into bullying. So just join us as we advocate for a world where everyone feels safe, respected, and empowered to speak up against bullying. Let's make reporting bullying the norm, not the exception. So just stay tuned to empower yourself and make a difference in the fight against bullying. Last week, I talked about cyberbullying and what cyberbullying is. Gaming platforms, social media, your phones, iPads, notebooks, any electronic form of communication, chat rooms, whatever you want to call them today, because we do have things out there that they're steady. Social media is just blooming. It's booming. And the cell phones, there's just about some type of electronic device in kids, from babies even up to the senior citizens. They have access to the internet. And I told you also that we'll be talking about something today that most people hadn't even heard of. They hadn't even heard of what we're going to talk about today. And let me ask you, how many of you have heard of term or a crime, actually, it is a crime, called sextortion? I talked to several people, and I can assure you, asking 10 people, at least 8 plus out of 10 have never heard of sextortion. Ladies and gentlemen, it is out of control. It's getting there anyway. You know how you have your scammers out there, your robocalls, but this is not a robocall. This is not a scammer. This is not your typical form of bullying. It can be considered a form of bullying, but with a twist. So let me jump right into sextortion. And just as the term implies, sex, extortion. Thus the word sextortion. Sextortion is a form of blackmail, which someone threatens to distribute your private and sensitive material. If you don't provide them, usually with images of a sexual nature, sexual favor, or money. And it usually involves someone hacking into your computer, your smartphone, to steal sexually explicit photos, videos, even messages, or coercing you into creating them. Again, sextortion is a form of blackmail, and it involves sex with a sexual element, and it also involves financial. Uh, it's relative. It's not new. It is not new at all. Going back, doing research, it's not new per se. I saw cases back in 2020. Okay, what was going on in 2020? Yeah, the world was shut down. COVID. Sextortion is what we talked about, like I said, the cyberbullying. So again, because the internet, more people now have access to the internet. It is worldwide, actually. It can spread far, it can spread wide. And let me give you how it usually works. They make contact. They make contact. They may contact the victim through social media, dating apps. You got everything out there. Even email. How many of you have gotten that email saying that, the age-old one was the one that you have millions of dollars or whatever, but in order to get it, you have to send me X dollars. Well, they also target your email, or they pose as someone else. Again, like I said, they can hack into your computer and pose as someone else. How many of you have seen the show Catfish? That show can really enlighten you on what people do. I've seen them from hacking somebody's computer and taking over, hacking into their Facebook account, taking over their account. This person couldn't even create an account in their own name because somebody else had hacked into that account and had taken it over. And the only way to get that account back was she found the person, and the person gave her account back, basically her identity on social media. They gave it back. They gain your trust. They gain your trust, and they may engage in an online relationship, and of course they're gonna build that trust and encourage the exchange of the explicit content. They do that. How many of you heard someone or saw something where they had an online relationship and they fell in love with somebody online, never knowing who it was, actually. And then once they get this content, then here come the threats. Here come the threats. They threaten to publish the information, to send it to your friends, your family, your school, public, and just put it out there. Stroke of a keystroke on the keyboard. Or the public, unless the victim complies with the demands. That demand could be anything from more sexually explicit photos, videos, even money, called financial sextortion. And it's even some other kind of physical acts. The demands just, you never know. You just don't know what a person will ask for in these situations. And of course, the demands can get high, they can be low. Who knows? But the thing is, the intent, it's not just local either. It's not just local. Why are we talking about this? Why? Well, let me give you some in the news. This one, January 17, 2024, from the FBI Sacramento office. And the headline says, Sextortion, a growing threat preying upon our nation's teens. Well, again, a growing threat preying on our nation's teens. And it says, victims manipulated to create sexually explicit material for extortionists. The FBI warns parents of, the FBI wants to warn parents, educators, caregivers, and children about sextortion, a crime that involves the solicitation and enticement of a minor to engage in sexual acts that are photographed or filmed and provided to an offender they met online. Sextortion, I'm reading straight from the article. Sextortion is a term used to describe a crime in which an offender coerces a minor to create and send sexually explicit images or video. After receiving the sexual explicit content from the child, the offender threatens to release that compromising material unless the victim produces additional explicit material. In these cases, the offenders are motivated by the sexual gratification they receive from the content. Financially motivated sextortion follows a similar pattern with a different goal. After receiving the sexually explicit material, the offender threatens to release the compromising material unless the victim provides payment, often as a gift cards, mobile payment services, wire transfer, or cryptocurrency. In these cases, the offenders are primarily motivated by financial gain, not solely sexual gratification. Get this. Offenders who engage in financially motivated sextortion are often located outside the United States, primarily in West African countries such as Nigeria and Ivory Coast, of Southeast Asian countries such as the Philippines. The victims they target the often are males between the ages of 14 to 17, but any child can become a victim. In the 6-month period from October 2022 to March 2023, the FBI observed an increase in reporting financially motivated sextortion incidents involving minor victims compared to the same period previous year of greater than 20%. In their office, in the Sacramento FBI office, that covered 34 counties in California, there's been a significant increase in reported sextortion incidents, and the majority of these involve financial sextortion. The special agent for the FBI, he warned victims to preserve all evidence and seek help quickly. Don't delete any communication, even if it's embarrassing. And they protect and support victims of sextortion, ensuring they're connected to the resources they need to recover. We're talking about the FBI. We're not talking about local folks. We're talking about the Sacramento office, but this includes the FBI in the United States. These crimes I'm reading straight from the article again, can lead victims to self-harm and has led to suicide. From October 2021 to March 2023, the FBI and Homeland Security investigations received over 13,000 reports of online financial sextortion of minors. 13,000. The sextortion involved at least 12,600 victims, primarily boys, and led to at least 20 suicides. $13,000 reports. October 21 to March 23. Almost 1,000 reports a month. And 12,600. Listen, they said at least. That's the reported cases. At least. Next news article. Coming out of Denham Springs, Louisiana. It's very scary. Sheriff says more child victims in social media sextortion case. This case, they arrested someone. They arrested an 18-year-old for targeting kids on Snapchat and used their location settings against them. He's threatening them to do them harm and basically manipulating them, extorting them to send him an inappropriate photo. Once he gets that photo, he now is able to continue on with things, said Livingston Parish Sheriff Jason Ard. Ard said it happened over several months with at least 10 victims between the ages of 11 and 13. Spanning 7 other states. In fact, the sheriff said the tip that got the case rolling came from Connecticut. This is in the state of Louisiana. And the tip came from Connecticut. You see, and in the previous article, it said that usually they're from other countries, Nigeria, the Philippines, worldwide. Nobody is off limits here. Our babies are not off limits. Hold up. Don't think it's just our children being sextorted. It's not just our children. Adults can also be sextorted. In the news, March 31st, 2023, a Natchez, Mississippi woman was charged. She was charged with 9 felonies. Natchez, Mississippi borders the state of Louisiana. She's from Natchez, Mississippi, but she was charged in the state of Louisiana. She was charged with 9 felonies, including extortion, 4 counts of felony theft, and 4 counts of bank fraud. This is how she played the victim. The victim told the sheriff's office that she stole checkbooks from his home and cashed checks totaling more than $2,300. He also told the sheriff's office that he had received texts from her threatening to release sexually explicit videos of him unless he deposited money into her bank account. The Concordia Parish Sheriff's Office investigating the case as sextortion. We're not off limits either. Children are victimized more because of, for lack of a better word, their immaturity, lack of experience. we are more adults. Most of us are more skeptical. And we pretty much know when something is not right. And in other words, we usually don't fall for the okie doke as much as a child because, well, for lack of a better way to put it, they simply don't know any better because they have not been experienced. And they also, most children lack the capability of handling a situation like this. So we need to keep a very close eye on what our children are doing on the web. And we need to be extremely careful about what we do also on the web because we can leave ourselves wide open to this kind of criminal activity. Can sextortion be considered a form of bullying? Well, yes, it can be. Specifically, as I said last week, we talked about cyberbullying because both of them involve the use of technology, and it's used to harm, it's used to intimidate, and it's also used to manipulate individuals. So yes, sextortion can be considered a form of bullying. However, there are very distinct characteristics, and it involves specific behaviors that set sextortion and cyberbullying. It sets it apart. There are some specific characteristics of sextortion: the blackmail, the coercion, violation of privacy, and of course, it is criminal. It's a criminal element. It involves the criminal activities like hacking, extortion, of course, and in some cases, child exploitation, making it not just a bullying issue, but also a criminal offense. And of course, with the coercion, they manipulate the victim, and they're embarrassed. The victim's embarrassed. They're ashamed. They're afraid of their reputation will be damaged. And of course, again, the violation of privacy. That's deep and personal. The getting into the sexual aspects of somebody's life. That's deep, and it does relate to bullying, because of the, again, power imbalance. The power imbalance. The perpetrator gets control over the victim through the threats and the intimidation. So it leaves the victims in a powerless situation. The psychological impact, both sextortion and the bullying, can leave the psychological effects on victims, anxiety, depression, feeling of helplessness, and then the use of technology. Both forms use the digital platforms to reach and affect the victims, making their abuse pretty pervasive and, of course, difficult to escape. They have their similarities. Again, they do. But then there are differences as well. The nature of the threats. Generally, bullying may involve the threats of physical harm, social exclusion, spreading rumors. But sextortion, it definitely specifically involved threats related to the distribution of the illicit content. And then the legal consequences. Of course, sextortion is illegal. It is illegal and can lead to serious legal consequences for the perpetrator. Charges of extortion, harassment, exploitation. Whereas bullying, it might not always reach that level of criminal activity unless It includes some criminal actions, some illegal action that it'll raise the bar to criminal. How do we respond if we fall prey to a sextortionist? How do we respond? Well, the best way to respond is just don't comply. Well, I guess you say if you don't take those kind of photos, or if you don't video these kind of activities and so forth and so on, then you don't have to worry about it. Well, that's a matter of choice, and some photos or videos, some things can be taken out of context, and with AI and all of this, whew, think about how a video can be manipulated, pictures can be manipulated and altered. So again, just don't comply. Don't give in to the perpetrator's demands. Stop the communication. Just stop. Don't, please, just stop the communication and report it, please. Report it to authorities as soon as the incident occur. The local law enforcement or cybercrime units, report it to your local law enforcement. Tell somebody. And if that somebody happened to be you, mom, you, dad, grandmother, aunt, uncle, trusted auntie, friend, pastor, it's a crime. It is a crime. Report it. Report it to law enforcement. And of course, seek support. Reach out. Reach out to family, friends. Report it to the platform. If it's Facebook, report it to Facebook. Messenger, report it to the platform that it happened in. And once that contact, wherever the contact is made, the gaming service, report it to them. And again, report it to the FBI. They're tracking this. Don't just sit there and hope it's going to go away. Usually it does not. They're not, you meet the demands, do this and do that. They're not. They're not going to stop. Think about the scammers out there. Do they stop calling your phone? No, they just change the number. So the perpetrator is not going to stop because you gave in to the demands. And as we stated earlier, over 20, and there are more, those are the reported cases and the cases that the FBI know that led to suicide. We're not talking about the ones that were not reported. Asking a child, the money may start low. It may start $50, $100. Okay. And then the child, a lot of children don't have that kind of access to that kind of money. And it gets higher and it gets higher. And of course, your social media, you have a lot of information out there that could be gathered. So they already know your family. They know what school you attend. And they're threatening to release this information. And the pressure gets on and on and on. And they can't handle it. So usually they end up, of course, the stages: depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, helpless, and eventually a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So we have to be very supportive. Law enforcement, supportive. Listen, gather all the evidence. Don't destroy anything. Screenshot them. Do what you have to do. One case during research last year for a presentation, and I ran across that case. Actually, that was my first time hearing about sextortion. I was researching for sex trafficking, and I ran across an article on sextortion. It was a young man, a teenager out of Mississippi, and Messenger, the video feature on Messenger, they would video, and the perpetrator saw his face, but he never saw the perpetrators. And while he was talking and having the young man do this and do that, it was videoing him. Well, he started asking for money, or else he would release the videos. And the young man couldn't. So, in this case, again, he took his own life. One article I read, within 6 hours of the teenager becoming victim, within 6 hours, the child committed suicide. So the support, being able to talk with our children, is very important. And some of the things that we need to relate to them and express sincerely is that they're not alone. They're not alone. And parents, you're not alone. And also, it's not their fault. It's not their fault that there are mean people out here in this world, that there are people that prey on the weaker people, but they're out here. It take all kinds to make up this world. They're out here. Definitely report the predator's account by the platform safety feature. Block him. Block the predator from contacting you. Save everything. As I said before, save everything. Save the profile, the messages, save it all, which can help the law enforcement identify and stop the predator. Now, you think because it is worldwide and that they don't investigate, they don't take it serious. They do. They've arrested 2 brothers from Nigeria, and they are awaiting trial in the United States for sextortion of victims in the United States. Ask for help. Ask for help from a trusted adult or law enforcement. Don't send them any money or any more images. If you did it first time, don't. And yes, it is recoverable, not the money, but I'm saying you can recover from this. Cooperating with the predator, as I said earlier, rarely stops the blackmail and the harassment, because they will hound you to death. But law enforcement can. Trust your law enforcement. Keep going. FBI, track this. So let's look at some measures to not get to this place. Be cautious. Just be careful. Be careful about who you interact with. Be careful about what you put out there, period. Because, again, you never know. They go into your profile. They steal pictures. Sometimes they literally clone. I get friend requests all the time. People I've never heard of. Some people, again, I already know my friend. I go to the profile page. Created in 2024. Delete. Because, or else the only thing you see is this person changed their profile picture. Changed their profile picture. No content. just no information about them anywhere. And normally, that's a fake. I delete it. Your privacy settings. Use strong privacy settings on social media and other online accounts. And please change your password. Strong passwords. And definitely enable the two-factor authentication. Enable that. And avoid sharing explicit content. Don't share the photos or videos online or with people that you don't fully trust. My thing is, don't share it with anybody. Don't share it at all. Report suspicious activity. Report it to the platform. Whatever platform you own, report it to that platform support team. And of course, your local authorities. And again, nothing is deleted from the World Wide Web. That's why it's www. It is worldwide. It's worldwide. So let's protect ourselves against these kind of activities. But there are resources that are available to you. There are resources. The Cyber Civil Rights Initiative. They offer support and resources for victims of sextortion and other online abuse. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They provide resources and reporting mechanism for sextortion involving minors. And then we have StopSextortion.com. They also have information on preventing and reporting sextortion. And if you or someone you know believe they've been a victim, immediately report the activity to law enforcement, and you can also report it to the FBI. You can go to the FBI website at fbi.gov/sextortion and fbi.gov financial sextortion. There are resources out there that are available to you. So don't ever feel like you're alone. Let's get ahead of this. Let's get ahead of this sextortion. But while sextortion shares the common element with the bullying, particularly the cyberbullying, it also involves specific and severe forms of manipulation and threats. Very often, more often than not, crossing into criminal territory. Sextortion. Be mindful. Be very mindful. There are criminals out there that are targeting our children. They are targeting anyone that they can manipulate. And it's not just our children. So let's make this world a better place by positively changing lives. One attitude, one act of kindness, one nice gesture, one encouraging word, a smile, a hug, one person at a time. One person at a time. Plant the seed. Watch it grow. Let's eradicate bullying at all levels. Report it, please. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of the Bullying Reported Please podcast. We certainly hope that the stories and insights shared have inspired you to take a stand against bullying and to support those in need. Remember, each of us has the power to make a difference. By speaking up, offering a helping hand, and spreading kindness, we can create a safer and a more inclusive environment for everyone. Stay tuned for more episodes. And don't forget to like, share this podcast with someone that you know, a parent, an educator, a friend. Share it. Let's get the word out. Let's get the word out far and wide. And of course, follow us on social media for any updates and additional resources. If you or someone you know is experiencing bullying, please report it, because your voice matters. Until the next time, keep striving for greatness. And remember, together we can make a positive change. I am E. Jones Blacksher. Thank you and take care. See you next time.